Okay, welcome back to another vid, a pickup vid, my first one of 2018. So 7 games altogether and a peripheral right at the end. One really pretty unusual game, to be honest. And I say unusual, I mean it's a common one, but maybe unusual on the system that I bought it for. But we'll come to that later. And one really, really rare game, at least in my experiences. And we'll come to that after this one, so it'll be the second one I show. But the first two are for the Commodore Amiga. And I love the Amiga, as you'll all know by now. I've been talking about it for years. But not too long ago, there it is, I got the A600. And I'd wanted the Amiga 600 for, honestly, well, since 1992. A friend of mine got it in 92. I loved it. It looks so futuristic and compact. It's really tiny. And I remember borrowing his, and sometimes he'd bring it round every once in a blue moon if he stayed over or whatever. You know, when your friends would stay over at the weekend and stuff. And I absolutely loved it. But I had an Amiga 500 first time round back in the 90s, and then I bought one back a good few years ago now, 10 years ago, 15, I don't know when. And then I've had the Amiga 2000, which I had featured on my channel 6 years ago or something. But to finally get the Amiga 600, it's brilliant. And I had to actually get that sent back. If you watched, I think, my last vlog, or maybe it was the vid before that, I can't remember. But I had to get it sent back to the seller because he didn't install a few things that he should have done first time round. So basically, in a nutshell, it can now play boxed disc-based games, which is what I wanted it to do, really. But also what I wanted it to do was to play ROMs via ADF ROMs, I guess. Put them on a PCM ICA card and then copy them over to disk, and that's what I'm doing now. So it's really good, but it's really old school because it's the first time I've copied discs, literally putting files onto a blank disc for 25 years, or pushing 25 years. So I'm sure the novelty will wear off eventually, but I'm really enjoying it right now. It's fun. It just feels like it's back in the early 90s. It's incredible. So anyway, like I say, a couple of boxed Amiga games. The first one up is a classic, and it's Turrican. As I always say, apologies for any glare I saw a little bit there, just because of the sun and the light and the angle I'm at. But yeah, an absolutely fantastic game. Now, I do want to get this on the SNES, and I will eventually. But the problem with the SNES version is that if you want it in excellent condition, you know, you're looking at around about 100 to 150 quid. You can get it cheaper, but I guess, like I say, condition definitely plays a part in that. And this one cost me around about 30 quid. Now, that's a little bit maybe cheap for the Amiga. Sometimes it can go for maybe 10, 15 quid more. But it's in really good nick, really pleased with it. You know, box complete, obviously, instructions and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's just a typical platform shooter game, and the music is amazing. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I mean, I know what it is. It's like Chris Hulselbeck, or whatever it is. A guy in Germany. Actually, he lives in San Francisco, so not too far away from me. Maybe I should knock on his door, see what he says. All right, Chris, I'm a big fan. Can you sign my game? I say I'm a big fan. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that he's done, apart from this one. But I do know he has done many more. I just can't think of what they are. So yeah, a really good game. I'm having so much fun with it. And like I said, in all honesty, as much as I do want the SNES version, this is where my nostalgia is. The Amiga, the Atari ST, and even the 8-bit versions. Well, I had it on the Amstrad, for example. And I absolutely loved it. So, more than happy to get this first. In fact, really, it was my priority. But the SNES version I will be getting in the future. Just because it's really good. I don't know if it actually differs too significantly to the Amiga version. Maybe it's got some extra levels or something, I'm not sure. But the sequel, Turrican 2 on the Super Nintendo, that's the one which can kind of go for $250. It's a lot of money, you know, and that's pounds. So in dollars, you can add like 40, 50 more to that. That's a lot of money for Turrican 2. And Turrican 2 on the Amiga, again, will be like kind of 50, 60, 70. So it's significantly cheaper to get these games on the Commodore Amiga. And, definitely repeat myself now, that's what I prefer anyway, because of the nostalgia. Now, speaking of nostalgia and the Commodore Amiga, although my main, technically, nostalgia would be with the ST on this one, but they look the same, and it's pretty much the same game. Same box and all the rest of it. Yeah, this game has been an absolute nightmare to track down. I am not exaggerating when I tell you I've been looking for this game for over 10 years. Well over 10 years. And I finally found a copy on eBay.com. So in America, actually, technically, I think the guy's in Canada. But either way, in North America, and I couldn't believe it. He had it on a buy it now. And even then, I risked it. I risked it because this game, let me show you what it is and then I'll talk about it. The game is called Rubicon. I mean, check out that artwork. It's a combination of really good, but really weird, detailed, like a lot of 80s and 90s games were. and the spine and all the rest of it. It looks pretty cool, to be honest. So again, it's kind of in a similar vein to Turrican, in that it's like a side-scrolling shooter with platform elements to it. So yeah, Rubicon is a game that I first remember playing a demo of back in, well, the early 90s. When did it come out? 91? Doesn't say, typical. I think it's 1991 or 92. Either way, 91, 92, when it first came out, I played a demo. It would have been on like an Amiga or an ST cover disc, and I liked it. I didn't think it was amazing back then, but I liked it enough to want to buy it. But I never got around to doing it. It was really, really hard to get. And then in subsequent years, and by subsequent years I mean like the last 10, 12 years or more, I've had a look every now and again on eBay, and I've never found a copy. Never seen a copy. It's just ridiculous. And I reckon it was about maybe a year ago, I saw a couple of copies for sale in Germany. There's one for the Atari ST and there's one for the Amiga. But the Amiga version is going for about 130 quid, or maybe more, and the Atari ST version is gone for twice the price because it's brand new and sealed. And I was not prepared to play ball at all. Now I did, around about Christmas, the same seller, and by the way, like a year later, the same seller, or I think they're two different sellers, in Germany, both in Germany, have still got that game available. So clearly their prices are ridiculous and no one's biting. But I really wanted it, and I thought, you know what? I really want to get this game. I've had enough of waiting. It's never going to come up on a standard auction because I've never seen it in over a decade. So I made an offer to the guy in Germany on his Amiga version. Remember, it was around about 130 quid. Shipping on top would have took it to around about 150. But I thought, no, I'm not paying that. That is mental. Even I've got kind of morals when it comes to bidding that much. So, but he did have a best offer. And whenever people have a best offer, that's always an indication that they know that they're asking too much for it. So I thought, right, I'll make an offer. And I think it was around about 70 quid, which is a lot of money. You know, in my opinion, in my mind, it's worth more. It's worth less, sorry, than 70, but I really wanted it. So I thought, you know what? It's Christmas. It's the end of the year. Let's go out in style. Let's get a game I really want. So I offered 70, and he immediately countered with like 100, bearing in mind it was 120, with 115, I think. And I thought, that is unreasonable. That's just unfair. That's stupid. You're already asking for a stupid price. You've got a best offer, but you want to counter at $5 less. That's just taking the piss. Or 5 quid or whatever it was. Or I guess it would have been euros, wouldn't it, because of being in Germany. But anyway, I thought, no, I'm not doing that. So I made another offer and I went up to 80. And I sent a little message and I said, look, mate, I said 80 quid is a lot of money, or 80 euros, whatever, is a lot of money, plus shipping on top of that. It's just not worth this. And he counted again at 110, so he'd come down another 5. And I thought, you know what, at point of principle, I'm not going to do this. I mean, I could have had it. I was willing to go up to 80, so really, just 110, it's not that much more in the scheme of things, not that much more. But I didn't want to do it. It was a point of principle, and I thought, no way, I'm not doing that, mate. So I know it sounds a little bit rude. I didn't intentionally do this. I just kind of forgot to reply to his counter. So I just naturally let the counter offer fade away. I didn't respond. I didn't obviously accept. I didn't counter again. I didn't reject it. It just expired. 2 or 3 days went by, and I thought, no, that's ridiculous. And if you look now, ebay.com or co.uk, you'll see it on sale, or the German site anyway. And it's just ludicrous. But it's a really good game, so I'm really pleased to get it. But when I say really good game, it's quite basic in parts. The music's pretty good, the graphics are good, it's a little bit sluggish moving forward, but I like it. Maybe more than anything, I like it through nostalgia. So that's Rubicon, a brilliant, brilliant purchase for me. Like I say, albeit maybe an average to decent game. But if you see it for a crazy price, I wouldn't buy it. But maybe one day soon, I'll do a gameplay and you can see what it's like. Because I keep meaning to do more Amiga gameplays. I've not done one for absolutely ages. I think the last one I did was it Leander? Maybe, I think I did Leander, and I did Second Samurai. I've done a few. Rodland, call it what you will. So I do need to start doing more Amiga gameplays, and I will, soon. I almost promise. Next up is a game. Now, I wasn't sure if I'd shown this before on a pickup vid. Part of me thought I had, and I thought, well, I can't remember doing it, but there was an element I thought, surely I have. But anyway, so what I did is I very quickly went through the last maybe 6 or 7 pickup vids that I've done, kind of skipped through them really quickly, and I couldn't see it, so maybe I haven't. So if I have, apologies for showing it again. If I haven't, which I'm not sure, I don't think I have, then, well, I guess you've seen it for the first time. And it's Poppin Twinby. There's some amazing glare there. So yeah, Poppin Twinby, really bright and colourful, as you can tell by the box. It's basically just a shoot 'em up, but a really cute one with a load of kind of different power-ups you can collect. By repeatedly shooting like the bell, it turns into a different colour, and that different colour gives you like a different kind of power-up. So yeah, it's really kind of, I mean, it's easy to begin with, like a lot of these games are, very easy to begin with, but it lulls you into that false sense of security because, you know, within a level or two, it starts to get really, really difficult, which you just wouldn't think so because it's so cute to look at, all these cute little monsters and all the rest of it. So, love the artwork as well. The artwork's brilliant. Very Japanese-esque, isn't it? You know, I guess it's a Japanese game, the origins of it. And the bright yellow box, I mean, it's proper nostalgia, isn't it? Who doesn't love PAL Super Nintendo games? Who doesn't? So, next one up is for the PS1, or the PlayStation. I know a lot of people don't like saying PS1. Call it what you will. But this is a game, it's actually the third game that was ever made, according to the box number here, number 3. And it's called Jumpin' Flash. Now, I remember this being on the Demo 1 disc, which came with my original PlayStation back in 1995, Christmas 95. And I did play it a little bit, but on that demo disc, I preferred things like Wipeout. What else did I play on there? ESPN Extreme Games, which I bought not too long ago, which I really, really like. But again, it's massively nostalgic, which is the main reason I like it. I think it had loaded. Did it have loaded on there? I'm not sure. It had Destruction Derby. I know that for a fact. But yeah, it had this. Now, I did play the demo. I had the demo disc, like I said. But I didn't really play it too much. I didn't think a lot of it. I guess back then it wasn't my kind of game. It's sort of like a platform game, like with a lot of 3D. Well, of course it's 3D. It's the PlayStation 1. That was kind of what it was all about, wasn't it? But yeah, walking around like this 3D environment, jumping up really high with like a couple of presses of the X button. And it's just really relaxing to play. It's quite easy. You're not going to be able to work out what it is on the back, but I may put like a couple of screenshots on, a couple of photographs in the corner of the screen so you can see. So yeah, again, it's one of those games which is quite easy to begin with. It's not got difficult yet. I'm hoping it's going to be. I mean, on the back of the artwork on the case, it says with 18 floating 3D environments to explore. So I think what it is off the top of my head, I might be slightly wrong on this, but you get like 4 mini worlds or 4 levels per world. So what was that, 4, 8, 12, 16, 18? Yes, probably like 5 levels overall. Each, I'm guessing, with 4 levels in. So if that's the case, I really do hope it gets harder. And I say that because I played it for around about half an hour, and already I'm well into the second world, and it's not particularly challenging. I did that as well in around about 20 minutes, and that's including the boss fight, which I'm presuming happens at the end of every level, because it happens at the end of the first one, or the world, or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I'm liking it. It's really relaxing. It's very simplistic. Graphically, it's very basic. It's one of the first PS1 games, PlayStation games. But, yeah, I like it. Really pleased to get it. And as you can possibly see as well there, if you can, bloody hell, can I get it up? There you go. Just about see it. Number 3, the third game of the PlayStation's library. So, really pleased to get it. And, yeah, I'm really enjoying the PlayStation. I say this regularly. In fact, every time I get a PlayStation game, I always say I'm really loving it, you know, and I can turn a blind eye to the graphics, which I can. But it has that instant thing whenever, even now, even for me, even though I play the PlayStation a lot, every time I put a game on, especially when it's a new purchase, it's hard not to look at the graphics and think, bloody hell, it looks ropey. Because they do. It's, as I touched upon, it's that 3D kind of environment, the polygons, they look dated. But I don't know what it is with the PS1 in particular, or PlayStation. It just, maybe it's a combination of nostalgia, maybe it's the gameplay, maybe it's something about the way they've crafted the game, but I very quickly forget how bad most of them look, and I just start to immerse myself into the environment and really enjoy it. And Jumpin' Flash is no exception, so I'm really liking it, yeah. Now, I can't say I'm going to do a gameplay for the PlayStation games in the future. It's a little bit harder to capture that footage, but I guess never say never. Okay, so there's 3 left and a peripheral. 1 game is still sealed. I'll come to that in a second. It only just arrived a couple of days ago. So next up, we've got Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive. A really good game. Really, really pleased to get this. I've not done a box and complete properly like this for years, I guess. So yeah, it's a classic side-scrolling fighter. Really good game. Obviously, Streets of Rage 2, I think, is probably the better game. And then Streets of Rage 3, is that technically better? I'm not sure. Maybe that's controversial. I'd have to replay it. I do remember playing Streets of Rage 3. The last time I played it, I kind of cheated a little bit. I think I got it for Pete's Nestastic. Well, I think he paid for it, but he bought it in America. and the seller wouldn't ship to the UK, so I bought it and then sent it on to Pete. But before I did, played it, obviously, and yeah, I enjoyed it. But for me, Streets of Rage and Streets of Rage 2, it's got the iconic music at the start, which is so good. So, you know, typical of the early 90s, that kind of dance kind of beat to it. And I absolutely love it. I can just put this game on just to listen to the music, and then maybe play like 5 minutes of the game and then knock it off. And that's my fix. That's my nostalgic fix, done and dusted for the day. I really like it. So, yeah, 1991. Now, I, at the time, 1991, didn't have a Mega Drive. I got mine like probably a couple of years later. 93 is when I got mine. But my cousin had one around about this time. So back when he had a Mega Drive, not long after it came out, I would have played all these Streets of Rage games. Altered Beast was another one he had. Dick Tracy, I used to really like Dick Tracy. I thought it was a really good game. I'm going to have to buy that back. E-SWAT, it's another one I want to get back. I thought that was pretty good, pretty basic, but I thought it was good. But yeah, I remember him having this one, Streets of Rage, and I really, really liked it. So yeah, it's up there with those kind of favourite games of mine from that era. Side-scrolling games. Rival Turf's a good one. Streets of Rage is better. But yeah, Final Fight's another one to add to the list. Magic Sword. People probably don't think of that one. That was one I picked up on the SNES maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago. That was definitely on a pickup vid. I remember showing that. It's quite an expensive game, actually. It's a Capcom, I think, make that one as well. So, yeah, that's really good. So, really pleased to have Streets of Rage. But I tell you what, I don't know why this is. Every single time I buy a PAL Mega Drive game from America, and there's not too many, but every time I see one, if I've not got it and the price is right, I'll probably buy it. It's always got the hang tab missing. What's all that about? Why do people snap the bloody thing off? It annoys me. So now I feel like I've got to go out and buy... I mean, I'm not going to obviously prioritise it or anything, but I feel like I've got to get a case with the tab on. Not that I'm going to hang it from anywhere, but it's not the point. It's like someone's took it off and they shouldn't have done. It annoys me. So next up, we've got a game for the PlayStation 4. This is the one which is still sealed. Now, when this came out, it initially came out, the first game came out on the Xbox One. It was an Xbox One exclusive, console exclusive. And I played it. I thought it was all right. Well, I thought it was quite good, actually. But it lacked a couple of things. It lacked a campaign mode, which wasn't a massive deal to me, but it would have been nice. But still, it did lack it. And it also lacked offline bots. So it was basically an online-only game. There may have been 1 or 2 game modes you could take offline, but I can't remember. But it was really basic. Or maybe the only thing you could do offline was kind of have 2 players. But if you didn't have 2 players, it was just pointless. Like in the same room with 2 controllers. So basically, for all intents and purposes, it was an online game. And I found that a little bit frustrating. You know, I find that frustrating for many reasons. The main one for me when it comes to online-only games, you know, in the heat of the moment, in the here and now, that's absolutely fine because people are enjoying it. They're playing it, they're appreciating it, they're having fun with it, in theory. But what if you want to play that game 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or more from now? You're not going to be able to play it because who's going to be playing this game in 20 years? Who's going to be playing this in a year? Not too many. So, for me, that's a real shame because all that hard work that the developers have put into the game, the artistry that's gone behind it, the thinking, the level design, the hard work, the blood, sweat and tears that have gone into designing these games, and then no one's going to play them. So at the very least, what they should do, in my opinion, I've always been consistent with this, the very least they should do is have an offline mode so people can play it in the future and appreciate it. Even if it's something silly like you can... that maybe the offline mode is in the game and you've got to unlock it, and maybe the only way to unlock it is to complete the campaign. Or put something in there just so you can appreciate the game. Because this game is already dying a bit of a death, from what I can gather, and has been since it came out. Bad timing with COD and Battlefield and all the rest of it. So anyway, that game is Titanfall 2. Like I said, it's on the PlayStation 4. The first one was an Xbox One exclusive, as I said, which is a bit of a shame, but quite telling that the sequel came to the PlayStation 4. That says to me that, oh, maybe the first one wasn't as big as a success they thought, so we'd better make the second one available on the PS4, you know, for like a bigger audience and all the rest of it. So, yeah, now I haven't played this particular game. It's still sealed, as you may be able to tell, and here. But I did play I think they had like an open beta. Did I even do a gameplay of Titanfall 2? I think I may have done. I think I did. Thinking about it. Yeah, maybe I did a multiplayer beta, and I thought it was all right. It's just same old Titanfall. But I was really reluctant to pay the $60 because I foresaw what has happened. i.e. not many people playing it because of the release and other big first-person shooters coming out, online and offline games. And I thought that price is going to plummet, just like the first one did. And sure enough, it did. So I didn't get it at $60 brand new. I didn't get it at 50 or 40 or 30. I kind of toyed with the idea of getting it when it was 20, but then other games came out and I just forgot about it. Now, I saw this the other day. It was on Amazon, brand new, as you can tell, sealed, as I say, and it was less than $10, including shipping. And I thought, that is a good price, around about $9.83 or something, which is approximately about £8, give or take, including shipping. And I thought, I can't turn that down. That's a really good price. So it just goes to show, doesn't it, that you wait for a game to come out. And when was this? Was it last year? Well, 2016, so, you know, a year and a half or whatever. $10, less than $10. It just goes to show that if you wait, if you've got a bit of perseverance and patience, then you will get games at an absolute bargain. What is the point spending crazy money on a release day game unless, and I've always maintained this, unless you really want to play the game and you're a big fan of the franchise and you're going to play it. Because if you're going to play it and you're going to get your money's worth, then it's worth it. Then I don't mind paying, personally, $50, $60. It's not a problem. Or more if it's like a deluxe edition. For example, I paid like 80. That might be a bit less, actually, maybe about 70 for the Forza 7 Ultimate Edition, as I did for Forza Horizon 3 Ultimate Edition. But I knew I was going to play them a lot and have fun with them, and I have, so that isn't a problem doing that. But generally speaking, especially when it comes to first-person shooters, just wait. Just wait, honestly, a few weeks, and you'll see like a 10, 20 quid or dollar reduction, and it'll just plummet even further. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. So not just did I play the multiplayer beta, but I also played, I think it was either on the PS4 or the Xbox One. What they did about 2, 3, 4 months ago, they made the first level, I think, downloadable as a demo, like a try before you buy kind of thing. And I did download it, and I thought it was all right. But again, it reminded me, I just cemented that opinion that, yeah, I'm glad I didn't pay $60 for this. So, less than $10, really pleased to get it, and I'll let you know maybe next week, or maybe not the next vlog. The next vlog's going to be Friday, the Friday Brew. That will be on Friday. Got a few questions to answer on that one. So maybe the following Friday, or the one after that, I'll talk about Titanfall 2, if I remember. And then last but not least, we've got a peripheral and a game. So let's show what the game is. Now, this is an unusual choice to get this game on this system. I do have it on is it the Xbox One or the PS4? I think it's the Xbox One. I've not played it for absolutely ages. It originally came out on the Xbox 360 and PS3. And the reason I've got it on this particular format, which is the Switch, is I just love the portability of it. I love the fact that it's not going to tie me to the television. Now, if you remember, the big TV used to be there. It's still in this room. I've not sold it or anything. My modern setup is just over there. It's slightly off camera in this kind of little corner of the room. It's really tiny in the corner over there. But yeah, I may move that back. I may not. It was just I was moving things around as I like to do, and I'll probably remove things in the room going forward as well. I've just always been one of those people. I like to move things around. Just like to mix things up a little bit. So anyway, so the modern stuff is around the corner there. But it's just the fact that whether it's there or whether it's there, you're sitting down in the chair, you're in one place, you're staring at the television. And I just thought, for this kind of game, when I've got the option to play it on the Switch, because it's out, obviously, on this system, I just thought it might be something I want to play on the go, as it were. So I could be sitting on this couch in here. I could be in the bedroom. I could be in the living room. I could be in the kitchen, wherever. I could be in the garden. I wanted to experience it, other than just sitting down at the television. Anyway, that game is Skyrim. Now, I'm really pleased to get it. It is really good. Obviously, it's a downscaled version. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a Switch game looks like, a box art, and I'm sure you do, but it's usually like that. You get the white blurb at the bottom, and then the screenshots at the top. Inside, what you sometimes get is artwork. Other times, it's just blank. As you can see this time, there is artwork. And then, obviously, you get the red spines with the white writing down the side of it, which looks a little bit bland. Every now and again, you'll get a game which has coloured writing. I don't know why that is, but usually it's just plain white on a red background. But yeah, so I'm really pleased to get it now. I've played it maybe for around about an hour, give or take, and I do like it. It is a good game, and I do, as I say, love the fact that I can take it anywhere. If I'm playing this on the Xbox One or the PS4, as I say, I'm just sitting there on this chair, staring at the TV, which is fine. I mean, it kind of works, but I like the portability of it. It's making me enjoy it that little bit more, because I don't feel tied down. I can play it anywhere. But what I will say, and it's stating the obvious, is that the graphics are scaled down, but they still look good. Don't think they look terrible. It's kind of, this is just off the top of my head, I've not looked at any comparisons, but it's kind of like a, it's better than the PS3 and the 360, but it's not as good as the Xbox One and the PS4, especially the latest Xbox One patch, which I think was enhanced, wasn't it, for the X. So it still looks very, very good, and it's not all about graphics, is it? I mean, graphics are good. It's all fine and dandy. I do like good graphics, more than most, really. But ultimately, what it comes down to is immersion and playability. And does it look good? Because if it still looks good, then that's all that matters. Are you having fun? That's the ultimate thing, I guess. So it still looks very, very nice. And to get it that quality as well on a handheld, which is essentially what the Switch is. I know you can dock it and play it on the TV. But yeah, I'm really impressed with it. It's really good. But I do eventually want to compare this to the Xbox One version. So I may get back into the Xbox One or PS4, whichever one I've got. I think it's the Xbox One. I may get into that eventually, but for now, I'm prioritising this. I'm really liking it. So yeah, Skyrim on the Switch. And then last but not least, here we go. Let me grab it. Even though I've got the box, here's the box. It's the Pro controller for the Switch, and here's the actual controller itself. It basically just feels, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it feels like a Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller. It's quite sturdy, very sturdy actually, and pretty much the buttons slightly kind of out of line, but they're almost akin, like I say, to an Xbox controller. So if you're familiar with that, then this will be right up your street. And I just felt, to be honest, I really needed to get this because the Joy-Cons, it's not like I find them difficult to use, but after a prolonged amount of time, my hands feel a little bit cramped. And I just think that's natural, I guess. So really, if you suffer from that, and I think most people probably will, if you're playing on a game for like an hour or more, then this is probably your best bet. It's pretty expensive though. I think it's around about $60, $70, which is around about kind of 55 quid, give or take. So a lot of money for what it is. But really, with that said, it's kind of a similar price to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 controls, isn't it? So I just think peripherals are expensive in this day and age. So it is what it is. So yeah, really pleased to get it. And already it is making a difference to my enjoyment, really, of playing Switch games. So yeah, been playing Super Mario Odyssey, and I've not tried Skyrim with it yet, but I guess I could. I'm sure it'll work. I don't know why it wouldn't. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm really, really liking it. So that's that. So we've got the 7 games, or was it 8? Can't remember. I think it was 7. And the peripheral, which is the Switch controller. Let's put it on top. Let's see if I can drop it. There we go. So really pleased to get them. And that's that. So thank you for watching. I'll have my vlog, like I say, the Friday brew. Even though I've got a kind of a brew here, but it's a hot chocolate, which is tasty. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll be back on Friday with the Friday brew. If you want to watch, please feel free. See you later.